I'll intro into this one with a brief story. So I went out and got my pilot's license last July, 2019. It's been an incredibly rewarding experience. During training, we talked about this disease that pilots get, and it's called, quote, get home-itis. It refers to when a pilot is flying and the weather starts getting bad, and the pilot says to themselves, well, it's only 20 more miles. I'll make it home. Unfortunately, a lot of pilots lose control of the plane within weather or in the weather. So the purpose of learning about this is to know that we have to set hard weather minimums that says if the weather gets to this, we have to change course. So now I think you see where I'm going with this. You have a section in the PDF that's triggers to change course. I noticed that the only hard metric on that slide was about quarantine beds, and I'll get back to that. But does Clemson have any other hard benchmarks in place to say if the number of active cases gets above blank, we have to change course?
We do not have a hard number, and here's why. These models require a lot of different variables that can influence it one way or another. So if you pull one of those variables out and you say, well, what if this one gets high? Then you could shut the entire university down when three other very influential ones are going in a great direction and your actual risk of infections are not, as high.
Okay.
Or so we try to, in real time, keep our eye on trends and where things are going in this multivariate environment. That said, it is clear that when we reach our quarantine capacity, trying to deliver meals will become a great challenge. And we figured that we kind of right now have the capacity to do around 650. And we've set aside 650 beds.
Yep.
And that one will catch our attention. But anytime our models begin to show us the bleak scenarios that we saw before, the models will tell us we got to take actions long before a trigger is hit.
Mm-hmm.
And so triggers are something the public can grab a hold of. And so I understand their value for people to see and understand. And we don't want to shy away from showing data and talking about if things are getting bad. But we have not set really hard.
Yeah, and
let me say another thing. This disease is so fluid and variable. A lot of universities set targets and so on and so forth, and then a while later they realize everything they assumed and everything they did in setting that is no longer in play. And now they've ratcheted themselves down, nailed themselves down to something that may be less and less important or valuable or predictive or useful.
Sure.
And now they have to break trust with the community by saying, well, that we're no longer going to pay attention to this. Then the community will say, sure, you're just changing things on your own to suit your interests and needs. So this is a delicate discussion. And the only thing we have going for us is to establish trust with our students and faculty. We hope that despite the fact that virtually no major universities of our size would declare that they were going to open up in August to start classes, mm-hmm. almost none of them decided to pause. They all went forward. We did. We made a lot of people angry. We had no trigger. We just knew from our models, this is going to be very dangerous. We just shouldn't do it. We hope people understand that cost us a lot of resources. Yeah. It cost a lot of angst in our students and our parents, political pressures, and everything else. So we want to establish we do the right thing, mm-hmm. and build that trust. And that's how we have trust for the community. It's hard to maintain that trust and keep that trust because everyone is so concerned about this pandemic. It's a pandemic.